Steve Jones. I've been a policeman for 22 years, and the last 5 years I've been sergeant of the Riccarton neighbourhood policing team. Neighbourhood policing is a prevention first focus of the police. Rather than waiting for crime to happen, it was about actually getting involved in communities and actually trying to find ways to identify the problems in those communities, work with the people in the communities to try and resolve those problems in a long-term sustainable way. So when police were introducing the neighbourhood policing teams, they looked right across the city for the suburbs that were high calls for service and that we felt that we could get some real benefits from working a lot closer with the community to try and solve those underlying problems. So Riccarton West was one of the first two suburbs to actually try the neighbourhood policing team approach. So when we started, we actually went and door knocked every house in the area because we wanted the people in the community to tell us what the problems they were experiencing were.
There was nothing really to belong to. There was definitely no group or activity happening here in Riccarton, absolutely nothing. So therefore people didn't meet people and there wasn't a sense of belonging. I've been here 20 years, you know.
When I first came, I suppose there was a feeling that and I think I speak for the other teachers as well, we work in this community but didn't really feel connected to it. We were in the community but not really a part of it.
And from that survey we found that antisocial behaviour was the major concern, and then graffiti, burglary and some road policing issues with vehicles speeding and not stopping at intersections. The goals really were trying to identify those crime problems and then really work on problem solving them and addressing the underlying causes. Really looking for the gains to be long-term sustainable. So rather than just short quick fixes, was actually look at trying to get those long-term sustainable interventions in place. So when we first started, one of the first things we did was just look at who are the other groups that are really working in this area, and the two main ones we came across was Oak Development Trust and the City Council through their Community Development Officer, Marie Byrne.
The Oak Development Trust, it sort of started around about 5-6 years ago now. It was set up with the purpose of meeting the holistic needs of the people in Riccarton by providing leadership and resources.
Part of our role with council is helping connect the communities and connect organisations together. Being there as a sort of a bridge or a catalyst to see, hey, what can we do there to support.
And so the three of us spent quite a bit of time just working out what the needs of the community were and how best we could work together to try and actually meet those needs.
And I guess we came with a common purpose to do the positive stuff that will lessen some of the other problems that people felt in this community, like of feeling unsafe, that they weren't connected.
My name's Vicky Buck and I'm a councillor for Christchurch City, and the area I represent is Riccarton. What communities boards can do and what the council can do is if people have got an idea that they're excited and passionate about, then we can help them make that happen. So if you think about why you live in Christchurch, you live in Christchurch because you're excited by it and it's a community you love, but you also want to make that so much better. And so being able to do the things that you think would make it better with a bit of resource from the rest of the community is amazing.
I think the first idea was the Community Day that happens now the third Saturday in October, and they said, Carol, I think we could make this happen. And I knew nothing about running big community events. It hadn't been my experience. But I guess we got a group together, and with their support, and because we could get the funding through the trust, we made that day happen. And of course, I think we're on our 5th year now, and we have about 1,000 people come to the days. People have got on board to be part of the volunteering of the day, to be part of making the stalls happen, to take some of the responsibility of the day. You know, the committee is mixed from Oak Development Trust, the community and council. So we've got, community people involved right at the heart of it, which is really good. So a real buy-in from the community, it's fantastic.
When the neighbourhood policing team came in, one of the things that they cracked down on pretty quickly was the graffiti. And there was a lot of graffiti, particularly in this park and around the place.
Graffiti is a really important crime for us as police because it makes an area feel unsafe.
We had a mural, for example, over the back in the park here that had been painted in the mid-80s, and it was just totally laden with graffiti. And so part of it was encouraging people to actually report the graffiti as soon as it appears. It's working with Council's graffiti team and having some graffiti ambassadors in the community who do the reporting but also who do the painting out.
It was bad round here. It's hard to see any of it now.
You don't see it.
Yeah.
And if we do see it, we ring up and I guarantee within a couple of days it's all gone.
It's been really tremendous to say what those guys have done round in this area.
And the result now is we've got a community that is so proud of the area that we have very, very little graffiti.
I'm Sandy, I'm a teacher at Wharenui School. I've been there for a bit over 10 years and I was involved with the mural project. Steve from the police and a community group that was wanting to revitalise. So yeah, we came up with the new mural to go there and a group of kids put it together.
So my name's Fudgy and I come from Wharenui School.
My name's Harmony, I also come from Wharenui School.
Everything here is different, and the thing I like the most is that every single thing isn't just randomly painted on, it actually has a meaning behind it.
It was really fun and it made us happy to see people taking enjoyment from the photo that we created.
The positive thing to see is that it's not just no graffiti on that, there's no graffiti around them, so it's sort of putting the pride back in the place that if a group of kids can get together and do this, let's maintain it and look after it. Between the mural and other things that are going on in the area with the community garden and the policing and the people are sort of more looking out for each other, I think, these days, and it's definitely rebuilding in a positive way.
Bringing communities together so that they know each other and that they feel part of the community and they feel respected in that community is really, really important. And it's something you can't put any monetary value on, it's just part of why you love the place that you live in. So having places where people go and everybody is welcome and they all contribute and they all feel great about it is really important.
I've lived in the Riccarton West area for almost 20 years. My children went to the same school here, so they've grown up in the area. I am currently involved in a Riccarton West neighbourhood support group, and through that we have a collaboration of people coming together to talk about issues and concerns that are affecting the community. So it's a completely collaborative approach. It's community based and community involved, so it's all about residents and what they want to see happen here in the community. I really enjoy working with people, working alongside people, getting to know their culture. I think it's really important. We're very diverse here, so it's really important that we involve everyone.
Earlier this year we got involved in creating and putting in place a painted intersection just up by Shands Crescent. And the way in which the community gathered around that and wanted to build a relationship was really exciting for me.
That was a 3-day weekend, big painting weekend, amazing. We had so many people involved in that from all around the area.
What was fascinating over the course of the weekend to watch was that here were people who actually didn't necessarily know each other's names, despite the fact that they lived very close to each other. And they got paintbrushes and started talking, and they kind of, by the end of the weekend, they knew their kids, their aunties, everybody was visiting.
What it is, it's to slow down traffic. And it works. And not only it helps to slow down traffic, it's cared for. People in the community care for it. So it's done quite a few more things than just slow down traffic.
People in the community have just been absolutely amazing. There's just so many of them that have just come along and got involved in various activities. Those are the people that ultimately have the ownership and ultimately are the ones that know what's best and what works for them, and our role is just to support them in that.
I guess what I really get blown away by is that sense, like for instance a community garden has brought those people who are passionate about gardening together. They have then grown in that vision, and I think that's really exciting.
My name's Nick.
I'm Loretta.
We've been living in here since, I think, 1977.
And we've only become really involved in the community since the neighbourhood policing team came into the area.
For me, anyway, because I'm normally a person that keeps to himself. The garden has really brought me out. And I think it's brought a lot of people out in the community too.
People who have needed a bit of work or needed a place to belong have become part of the garden too. And Loretta and Nick are just a wonderful couple doing this.
We had this barbecue and there was probably about 15 or 20 of us there. I actually said to everybody 5 years ago, I didn't know one of those persons. And here we all were having a nice barbecue together and really enjoying it, wasn't it? Now we've got that land for 3 years, which was a year-to-year basis before, but Housing New Zealand has used it as a sort of a model.
You know, a lot of us now can go down to the garden and feel a lot freer in the work that we do for the garden and for the community. It's for the community, really. It's not for us, it's for the community.
This Riccarton area is a very transient area and it brings about problems. Over 65% of this area are rentals and a lot of them are student rentals. Probably about 50% of the population in this area are on a student benefit. So that's quite significant, and they will come in usually February, March each year, the students, and then leave about October, November. So they don't really have a sense of place in this community. It's like a bit of a playground for them, and that's how they've often regarded it. Wouldn't go past having a regular Thursday, Friday, Saturday night of out of control parties, couch burnouts, fire call-outs, all sorts of things here.
One of the big issues and probably the main issue that we've realised happens here in Riccarton West is the real disconnect between the long-term residents and the short-term residents, the uni students. And the fact that the uni students don't feel part of the community.
There'd be stuff thrown over your fence and maybe cones, could be bottles. You just didn't feel right, you know?
We used to get quite nervous because you sort of really, when you're older, you're a bit vulnerable to crowds of youngies.
Quite often you've got to go to the youth to engage the youth, and so part of it has been finding ways of engaging the students. What the police have done is gone and knocked on their doors, go to where they're gathering.
One of the things we realised is that they actually wanted to be part of the community but never really felt part of it. Most times when a party had problems, the hosts of the party actually turned out to be victims. It was their place that had been damaged, their stuff that was stolen, them that had their neighbours upset with them, and they never had that intention of it happening that way.
My name is Georgina McClurg and I lived here in 2012. We had a flat party that got really out of control. We had a lot more people than we thought. We had about 500 people come over to our house, more, I don't know, it was huge, for a flat warming, and it ended up in chaos. And so because of that we had meetings with the police to figure out a better way to party, I suppose.
So we worked with students, and when we heard that some were having a party, we went around and actually, gave them some advice and said, look, we're here to support you and help you. And we got some really good successes out of it. And that passed on word of mouth to others, and we had more and more ringing us up asking us to come around and talk to them. From those successes we joined up with other agencies, and collectively as a group we rolled what was practically working well into a project which we called the Good One Party Register. So that's been going about 2 years now, and we've now had about 560 parties registered, and that's covering about 48,000 guests. Yeah, it's really interesting now, the changes with the party register, that we're actually invited to parties. And when police turn up now, it's not a surprise, it's not a, oh my goodness, there's something wrong. It's actually, hey, come on in, we invited you. And so immediately the whole attitudes have changed. We can get in there and actually talk to people and sort out minor issues and other than that, just form good positive relationships.
You actually don't have fear around police now because you know that they're good people and people that you can connect with and relate to and chat to about really anything, and it's become quite a friendly attitude that I have towards the police now.
As we started to get students involved in this community, that broke down the barriers. I remember the first street clean-up that was done of Rattray Street, and the students came and actually cleaned up and they were involved in it. And for the residents, I think that was a huge breaking point. One of the really positive things also that the students have done is coming in and doing working bees at places like the community garden. And when the residents see students giving back into the community, hey, they think, hey, they're not such a bad bunch after all.
We've got to know some now.
Yes, quite a few of them. It's
lovely.
lovely.
Really nice kids.
Yeah.
You know, we went to Australia just a
couple of weeks
back, and one of the boys down the road, we'll come back. Worried about you, he says, we haven't seen you, you know. I said, that's nice.
Yeah.
Really is.
He's at the university. Yeah, so that made us really feel lovely to think that, you know, they cared and worried about us too.
So we've got sports in the park here every Wednesday during the summer terms. We come out here with a bunch of young leaders, university students and people from the local community, and put on some sports for the kids in the area. I think one of the best ways that it builds community is that it gives university students, it gives young people a way to feel like they're contributing towards the community. Obviously the kids love it down here, and we've actually found that there's been a chance to build relationship into families as well, further than just with the kids themselves. All of the university students that we've had involved have expressed that they've been really stoked to be a part of it as well, and they've connected more to the community because they've been able to be a part of it, so that's been really exciting too.
Now that we're coming to the time when the neighbourhood policing team's transitioning out, we've had a look back and reviewed just how things have gone and the changes, and yeah, very much I'd say it's been a success. But certainly the community building side, I mean, it's just amazing just seeing the people step up and the things they're doing and the ownership they've got. From the police crime side of things, yeah, we're seeing some really good results there. We're looking at about a 24% reduction in crime from what it was prior to the neighbourhood policing team started. We're looking at about a 50% reduction in burglaries. Fire service are talking about a 90% reduction in call out to uni student bonfires at parties, 40% reduction in noise complaints. This area went graffiti clean in May 2014 and has stayed that way. And we've noticed a real decrease in problems with antisocial behaviour. We have residents telling us how much it's changed. The streets are cleaner, and probably the big one is just the real U-turn in attitudes between police and university students. There's a real collaborative and cooperative nature between us now.
We've got in this area a much more connected and empowered community with a sense of social responsibility and a sense of ownership in this community. Now we've got so many really cool things happening. We've got a cafe, we've got a newsletter, we've got community day being run, we've got a community garden, the list goes on, and this is because the community have become involved and they've been empowered to do these sort of things. So the real plus has been the improvement in the social fabric in the area.
I guess it's the individuals that you've seen that have actually had significant changes in their lives. You know, where they've actually found something they can get involved in that gives them a sense of purpose, that grows them as a person. You know, people that have been not involved in the community at all and are now so actively involved and seek leadership and seek to help others and actually become you know, a real part of that change and actually driving that change.
For me personally, it's changed my whole outlook, and it's encouraging me to want to continue just because I feel this passion for the community and residents, so which I didn't know I had until 5 years ago.
When we first came here, look, you could hardly speak to anybody along the street, you know. Now, you know, I suppose you could say that we have to sort of keep them away. But it's been terrific. It really has been terrific. Yeah.
I guess I have deeply see what actually the collaboration and working together of groups have achieved.
I think at the start, if you'd told me these are the results we'd be talking about now, I probably wouldn't have been expecting that. But now that we're at the end, no, I'm not surprised, because I've seen it growing over the 5 years, and for me, from a policing side of things, you know, this is the best policing I've done in 22 years. It's the most effective, it's the most rewarding. This is the only time in my police career I've gone home to my family and gone, I've changed someone's life today. And it's pretty rewarding and special.